Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Wiz Khalifa, man, kicking it with hardknocktv, Taylor Gang.
We making noise.
Take me through your mindset of going into Black Hollywood and what you were trying to accomplish with this album.
My main goal for Black Hollywood was just to make myself happy musically and put together a project that I knew like represented like more than just music, but it was represented a lifestyle or could take people, you know, to the next point in their lives. The meaning behind the title is just, I usually play on words, so I use Hollywood as like the goal of what everybody wants to get to. It's like you look at TV and that's where most of your inspiration comes from. And I used the word black and I spelled it the way that I did, just to empower people who start on their own, or kind of like the outsiders or the underdogs and people who get looked at as like the weird kids or stuff like that for their ideas. And I put it together and I kind of made it like a cool thing, just so those kids know that, you know, those are the ideas that take you where you want to go into the future. Me being one of them, and, you know, having a whole group of friends who's like that as well.
Dem Boyz just blew the heck up. Would you say that's like the biggest hit of your career?
I'd say Black and Yellow is the biggest hit of my career, but I say Dem Boyz like just proves to people that I can make, you know, songs that are hits over and over.
Where did that sound come from? Because I mean, it's different than a lot of the other stuff you put out.
That sound came from working with Detail. He's a really experimental guy, just as far as writing and energy in general. And you know, I'm pretty open-minded. So when we got into the studio, it was just fun. And we knocked out like 5 songs, but that was the one that stood out the most to me.
Now, Chuck D says that he usually writes his lines, he thinks of the title first. Scarface says he thinks about the first couple of lines in the rhyme. Is there something in particular you do first when you go into writing? Do you hear the beat first, or do you have a concept in mind? What's the creative process?
No, I'll hear the beat, and just from the beat, I usually get inspiration. So if I can come up with the first couple lines just off of hearing the music, then I go straight into it. Or sometimes I can come up with a melody for a hook, so I do that as well.
But it's all driven by the beat first. You hear the beat first and then whatever is inspired. Yeah. On the Dem Boyz remix, you linked up with Nas, which is one of my favorite rappers. How did that come together?
The Nas remix happened because, just from me being a fan of his, and I think we were at a show, I think we were in Memphis or something like that, backstage, just linked up, got his number, and then I hooked up with him when we were in New York. We were in the studio. That's when I asked him to get on there.
Young nigga, but I'm ready. Oh, foreign girls call me sexy. And white girls give me Becky. But first I gotta roll this joint, baby, hold on.
Talk about balancing the music, being a young entrepreneur, being a father. How do you do that?
It's good. It's fun for me, balancing, you know, being a father and business, because it just lets me put all of my priorities in order and just be able to knock them all out accordingly. And seeing my son happy, seeing my fans happy, seeing my wife happy, seeing, you know, my mom happy, just everybody is really, really important. It's high on the list. So as long as I'm doing that, I feel like I'm doing good.
When the album came out, there were some reviews that came out. I know you had a particular back and forth with one of the writers on Twitter. How does it feel to put out music and just be vulnerable, and then just, you know, public feels a certain way or the other? How do you deal with that as an artist?
I deal with it how any other artist would. You know, you take it kind of personal sometimes, but then I look at who's making these comments, and then I look at how confident I am in the music too. And like me saying something to him wasn't me being not confident at all. It was me like saying, dog, you don't know what you're talking about regardless of who pays you to do your job. So I'm gonna put you in your place with my, you know, however many million followers that you're trying to work up to get to anyway. So it was just like a little, oh, sit down. You know what I mean? Everybody needs that every now and then. And this is rap, so it's like, at the end of the day, when you wanna like cross over, I mean, it is art, it's fun, it's entertainment, and it's rap music, so you want to play with some rappers and some rap shit might happen.
They try to hold us back, paint a picture of us and sell it straight to the public. You young black, then you thuggin'. What they don't talk about about the kid that came from nothing, who stuck to what he believed in and turned himself into something great. They should use that story to motivate, but instead they'd rather focus on the fact that he's a pothead, not the fact there's not a lot where I live, 25 and not dead.
One of the standout tracks on the album for me is House on the Hills. The end of that first verse, you definitely talk about some stuff. Talk about what you were thinking about when you wrote that verse.
Well, I was just thinking about where I come from in Pittsburgh, like, or just the Midwest in general. It's like really hard to escape like the stereotypes that people kind of think that are old school or a way they shy away from. It's still the exact same way. It's like if you see a black kid, whether he has tattoos or whether he has baggy clothes or whatever, a lot of people feel threatened. And we're in a day and age where that should be like completely over with, you know? So I don't know, it was just kind of my reality, and I still kind of go through that. So to see it and to know it, and then I wrote that before the Mike Brown thing happened, and then with that, you know, it's like, it's exactly what I'm talking about, but you know, it is what it is.
That was actually my next question. When I heard that track, I was just thinking, wow, this came, you know, at the time when Mike Ferguson, it fits exactly. What are your thoughts on what's going on there?
Well, that's the thing. It's like I've always been aware of that just due to where I come from, and he comes from he was from one of those places. And I think awareness is more important than anything, because when people see it or when it happens, they get shocked. But if you know about it and you know how to handle yourself in those situations or how to prevent those situations, then that just makes it better for everybody.
Last time we talked, you were about to have your son. Your son's been born. What has been the biggest learning lesson from actually having a son?
My biggest learning lesson is probably just how to take charge and take control of things that I want to do, because I kind of look at him like, oh, he's a baby, like, oh, blah, 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 is that another thing? But it's my job to show him everything in life. So as soon as that kicked in, it was like, oh, I got to get him dressed. I got to do this. I got to show him that. I got to talk to him, you know what I mean? Even if he doesn't like, people don't think he understands it, but he's processing these things. And like, that kicked in pretty early, but that was like one of the main things that I learned.
Was there a particular moment where that hit you? Was it like right out the womb, or was there something in particular that happened? Or?
No, I mean, it was just after, like, you know, there's certain situations that force you to just be like, yo, I gotta do what I gotta do. And when it's for the baby, you always come out on top. And just having those situations and just having the people around me too. My mom helps me out a lot. My dad helps me out a lot.
I saw the interview with Sway where your mom was there. It was a really cool moment. Just to
she helps me out a lot.
She's definitely LG. You can tell by the way she speaks.
Yeah.
What role has your mom played in your career?
She's played a huge role, just helping me stay in order. She used to handle my schedule when I was younger, make sure I was like at the airport and caught flights, or she would make sure that the bills were paid at the house and stuff like that, because I've been paying bills since I was 15. And she made sure everything was in order. I would come home sometime and the cable would be off. I'd be mad as hell, but she would get it right back on though.
Don't let me down. You made those promises, don't take them back now.
I've seen you perform throughout your career. Live show seems like it's something really important to you. I mean, you always put on every time you hit the stage. What are some of the keys that you think to being a great live performer?
I think to be a great live performer, you have to watch great live performers. And that's what I do all day.
Who are some of the greats you watch?
James Brown, Freddie Mercury, Prince. Whew, he's bad. Jimmy, of course. Nirvana. There's a lot of different types of performers. I used to be a real big fan of like Jay-Z shows. Early Jay-Z, like all the way up until he did like the Black Album. Like that movie was crazy for me. Like I watched that all the time. Lil Wayne, big inspiration as far as performance.